Hello and welcome to a new episode of Hartwig's Tech World. It's great to have you tuned in again. I'm Hartwig.
And I'm Bianca, ready for a new dose of tech news that will either make us smarter or just make us shake our heads.
Today we have a bit of everything, from apps that work without any internet to watches that are now better at finding the way. So let's dive right in. Let's start with a really cool innovation. Twitter founder Jack Dorsey has introduced a new, exciting weekend project, Bitchat, a messenger that works completely without the internet, using only Bluetooth.
Without internet? Like a walkie-talkie for text messages? How is that supposed to work?
Think of it like a mesh network. Every phone with the app becomes a small node in the network. Your message essentially hops from phone to phone until it reaches the recipient, all without any central servers.
That's brilliant for places with no reception, like at a festival or while hiking. But the real idea behind it is surely something else, right? Sounds like a tool for activists.
That's exactly the primary use case. Because it works without the internet, communication can't be easily shut down or monitored by authorities, as was the case during the protests in Hong Kong, for example. The messages are encrypted and stored only on the devices.
Super interesting. What else can the app do? And can I try it out already?
You can set up group chats and protect them with passwords. In the future, it will also support Wi-Fi Direct to increase its range. For now, though, it's still an experiment for iPhones, and unfortunately, all the spots in the test program are already taken. But the concept is fascinating. From an app that helps you not get lost when the network is down, we now move to an app that helps you not get lost when you don't know the way.
That sounds like good news for sports watch users.
Absolutely. All owners of a newer Garmin watch who also have an Android phone can rejoice. You can now use Google Maps for navigation right on your wrist.
Finally! That's one of the features you'd expect from a real smartwatch these days. How does it work exactly?
You start the navigation as usual on your Android phone. The turn-by-turn directions are then sent directly to your Garmin watch. You get a vibration before the next turn and can see the next 3 directions. It's super practical for pedestrians or cyclists because the phone can stay in your pocket. And it even works in parallel with your normal activity tracking.
The almost inevitable question. And why, once again, only for Android? What about us iPhone users?
It's the same old story. It's due to Apple's very restrictive APIs. The founder of Pebble put it perfectly recently. Apple makes it systematically almost impossible for third-party wearable makers to create a good experience for iPhone users. Officially for security and privacy reasons, unofficially to lock customers into their own ecosystem. Speaking of Apple and unfair advantages, our next topic takes place in court where Apple is being accused of exactly that.
This is about the dispute with the medical tech company Masimo, right?
Exactly. The legal battle over the blood oxygen measurement feature in the Apple Watch is entering the next round. Masimo accuses Apple of poaching its employees and stealing the technology, which is why they secured an import ban on the Apple Watch in the US last year.
And Apple wants to have this ban overturned now?
Yes, they've gone to an appellate court. And their argument is really interesting. They say the ban is unjustified because at the time of the original complaint, Masimo didn't even have its own market-ready competitor product.
Okay, that's a good point. What's the timeline on that?
Apple introduced the feature in 2020 with the Series 6. Masimo didn't launch its own watch until 2022, 2 years later. Apple's lawyers are basically arguing, you can't ban the trade of our real product just because a company claims we stole technology for their then hypothetical product.
That sounds legally quite nitpicking, but understandable. And what does Masimo say?
They accuse Apple of trying to rewrite the law, so it remains an extremely interesting fight between David and Goliath. From a dispute about keeping a product alive, we now move to a dispute about keeping entire games alive after they've essentially been buried by their manufacturers.
You're talking about the Stop Killing Games initiative, right?
Exactly. This UE Citizens initiative has collected over 1 million signatures. They are demanding a law that ensures digitally purchased games remain playable even after the official servers are shut down. For example, through a mandatory offline mode or the option for fans to run private servers.
That's a great cause. I buy a game for a lot of money, and then one day I can't play it anymore, just because the publisher can't be bothered. What does the game industry have to say about that?
The European Industry Association, Video Games Europe, which represents almost all major publishers like Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft, has now officially responded. They say they understand the players' emotions, but shutting down servers is a necessary economic decision when a game is no longer profitable.
But the demand isn't to keep the servers running forever, but to give players an alternative afterwards. What's so bad about that?
The association argues that it's not always technically feasible. Furthermore, a legal requirement would increase development costs and limit creative freedom, especially for online-only games. They also cite licensing, security, and data protection issues.
So basically, the publishers are saying, we feel you, but no, that's too complicated and too expensive for us. And what's the initiative doing now?
They are continuing the fight and want to reach 1.4 million signatures to officially get the topic on the UE Commission's agenda. So the final word on this has definitely not been spoken yet. And that's it for today, from Bluetooth chats in dead zones and watches that now show the way to epic legal and industry battles.
I'm a whole lot smarter again, and it's always fascinating how technology influences our daily lives and even our laws.
It is. If you enjoyed the episode, feel free to leave us a like or, even better, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything.
And a comment would be great too. We read every single one. And to finish off, Harthig, of course, has the saying of the day for you, fitting for today's episode.
Exactly. Today's saying is, a Bluetooth messenger is like a good friend. It's there for you even when you have no connection.
That's a really good one. On that note, take care and see you next time.
Bye.